campaign for president. She is proud that she is powered completely by the people. She does not accept campaign contributions for corporations, lobbyists, or anyone. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tulsi Gabbard.
Thank you. Stand up right here behind you. Thank you so much. Good to see you again. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Can y'all hear me? Thank you. Thank you so much, Representative Dillard. I appreciate your leadership and service and your kind introduction. And just thanks to the leadership of your party who are here. I appreciate the opportunity to join all of you today in the discussion about the many issues that we face. My first time coming to South Carolina was back in 2003. We have some family who've lived here for over 40 years. My uncle and his wife, school teacher, but I didn't get a chance to come and visit until I joined the Army. I got picked up at the Columbia Airport by a couple of drill sergeants who were very welcoming, as you can imagine. I had my green duffel bags along with some other people from other parts of the country, jumped into a bus, was told not to speak, not to look eyes left or right, and went on to spend a couple of great months here in the summer. In the summer of 2003 is the first time I ever saw, at 5:30 in the morning, we're out there doing PT on the field, steam rising from people's bodies. It was something else to behold. Growing up in Hawaii, I'm the fourth of 5 kids. You know, I come from the most diverse state in the nation. We have people from all different parts of the world, immigrants, people of different races, ethnicities, religions, as diverse as you can imagine. So for a lot of us growing up in Hawaii, the whole concept or label of being a quote-unquote minority just doesn't exist. And so for a lot of us, when we left Hawaii for the first time and came out and to other parts of the world, it was an eye-opening experience. And something that I will never forget is that day when I showed up at Fort Jackson. And we have any veterans here who went to Fort Jackson? Got a few of you. There you go. So you know, when you go into that barracks for the first time, the drill sergeants come in, they tell you to toe the line. There's a red line all around the room in a big box, and everyone gets up there, you're toeing the line, the drill sergeants are coming and doing their thing. But I just remember looking around that room and seeing the diversity that is America. People who came from all different parts of the country, representing the beauty of who we are as a nation. And even with all of those differences and all of those unique qualities, it really, really struck me the strength of the unity of purpose, of why we were all there. Total strangers gathered together. We got to know each other real well, real quick. But we were gathered there because every single one of us raised our hand and volunteered to serve our country. Every single one of us raised our hand and volunteered to put our lives on the line for our nation. That unity in purpose of service to our nation is a beautiful thing to behold, where immediately we felt a bond, where even as we may have different stories and different backgrounds, different ideas, different politics, all of these different things that made us unique, we were one team working together to serve the people of our country. It is this unity and purpose that we need so badly in Washington, where unfortunately we have a bubble in Washington that is so disconnected from the reality of the lives and the struggles and hopes and dreams that exist in communities all across our country. The contrast is so stark, where in Washington for so long it has been a government controlled of, by, and for the powerful elite. And so when you look at the policies that are being passed, when you look at the priorities that are being put forward, who do they benefit? The powerful elite. Those who thrive in this pay-to-play culture in Washington. While the rest of us, the rest of the country, suffer the negative consequences as a result. The rest of us are left behind seeing election after election after election. We're talking about the same things. That the problems that existed 10 years ago, are they getting better? In most cases, the answer is no. So getting to the root of that problem and making it so that we together, because we the people, those three first words of the Constitution mean something very real. We the people are the only ones who can bring about that change. We the people are the only ones who can really bring about that vision for our government that our founders had for us. A government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So I'm grateful, I'm proud of our campaign. As the representative said, we take no PAC contributions, no lobbyist contributions. We have a pure people-powered campaign, and it is a beautiful thing because we are seeing people from all across the country come together, maybe different ideas on how to tackle the problems and challenges that we face, but coming together around that sense, that unity of purpose, of putting people ahead of profits, putting people ahead of the hyper-partisanship and the divisiveness that we are seeing, and say, hey, if our mission is to serve and solve problems, we can only do that working side by side together. So this is at the heart of why I'm running for president, where my personal commitment to every single one of you, every single person in this country, is to treat you with respect. To treat you with respect and to make sure that you know and understand my first responsibility every single day is to serve you. Where together, working side by side, we can usher in a bright future, a White House that can once again be a beacon of light, a place that represents integrity, respect, and honor. As we work together to strive towards that more perfect union with true equality, justice, human dignity, peace, and opportunity for every American. A government that will fight for the people. It is absolutely unacceptable that here in South Carolina, you have, I believe, 1 in 10 people who are uninsured still. Even as you have some of the highest rates of diabetes in the nation. Even as we are hearing more and more about, parents with children or people who have diabetes who can't afford the insulin. Some of them are insured, some of them are uninsured, with families having to think about, okay, do I gotta go to Mexico or Canada to get the insulin that I need? And for those who aren't, they're rationing their medication and seeing greater numbers of amputees and people who are losing their vision as a result. This is absolutely unacceptable. As president, working together, the people of this country, all of you working side by side, I will take on big pharma and big insurance, people who are profiting off the backs of sick people in this country, and ensure that we have guaranteed quality health care for every single American, making sure that no one who is sick is left behind. Now, I know there's a proposal that's being put forward, I believe, in your legislature right now to increase pay for our teachers. $3,000 a month, I believe, right? Or $3,000 a year. $3,000 a year. Boy, every month would be good, right? $3,000 a year. And unfortunately, the quality of education that we're seeing diminishing here in your state is a direct correlation of the lack of investment in resources in our teachers and our schools. It's not rocket science. We scratch our heads saying, gosh, how come our kids are graduating and a lot of them having a hard time reading? Why is it that we're seeing these challenges where our kids are not having the opportunities that we would hope for them to have? The solution to this is actually quite simple. We can talk about our kids being our future and our hopes, being able to fulfill their dreams, but unless we back that up with resources and action, it's all just talk. My father-in-law is still a public high school teacher in Hawaii. My parents are educators by trade and training. And we hear from them. My father-in-law, he comes home working long past the school day is done. We asked him, hey, can you come out and spend Thanksgiving with us here? And he said, I'm sorry, I got to grade papers. So he spent Thanksgiving back home in Hawaii. But this story is not any different from the challenges that our teachers face every day. Teachers are far underpaid when they are answering a calling to serve. They are answering a call to serve. This is a priority for me and my administration, to place that sense of importance in our teachers that they deserve, make sure they get paid what they deserve, and that they've got the tools necessary to provide our kids with the best possible education. No matter your zip code, no matter where you come from, our kids deserve the best. In the United States of America, it is unacceptable. It is unacceptable for our kids to have outdated textbooks or not to be able to afford to buy their school lunch. There are so many different issues that we need to address. We need to address the huge affordable housing shortage in this country that's affecting both rural communities and urban communities, that's driving up the homeless rates in our communities, which is directly correlated to the fact that 80% of people in our country are struggling, living paycheck to paycheck, just one emergency away from finding themselves out on the streets themselves. The huge inequalities that exist can find their source back to where we started. The policies in this country, the tax code and tax policies, our economic policies, our healthcare policies, they are benefiting the powerful elite and leaving everyone else behind holding the bag. My commitment is to put people first, to fight for the well-being of the people of this country, and to make sure that we are working together, leaving the special interest corporations on the sidelines and actually forming our policies that will accomplish these goals and solve these problems. Now, all these things require resources, right? Because so often we're told, I serve in the state legislature and the city council in Honolulu, and I know what it's like to be told, well, hey, you only have this limited amount of money to make sure that, you know, the roads are safe, that the sewers are working properly, that you've got clean water for your community. Every single time you're told right now, there's not enough money to give your teachers a raise, there's not enough money for education, the most basic necessities that we have. Yet those very same politicians who tell us this over and over are the very same ones who will have no problem going and wasting over $1 trillion in Afghanistan, fighting a war of choice, not serving the best interest of our country, and nation building in another country that is not the United States of America. Wasting $50 million building a gas station in the middle of nowhere that nobody can even use in that country. These documents that have been released over the last few days have been very revealing, affirming what so many of us have known all along. You have people in our government going and being directed to spend $3 million a day in each community they're working in Afghanistan, but they don't even know what to spend it on. Can you imagine how many teachers we'd be able to give a raise to with $3 million a day? And this isn't something that's happened in the past. Right now, this month of December, and the month that came before, and the month that will come after, we are spending $4 billion every month in Afghanistan alone. I'm not even talking about Iraq or Syria or any of these other countries. $4 billion every month. Every month. I was at South Carolina State University yesterday. I had a chance to meet with President Clark, and he was talking about the huge amount of deferred maintenance that they have there in their university, and that the backlog that exists in HBCUs across the country. And we were running the numbers. We talked about $4 billion in Afghanistan every month. And that on the conservative estimate, to be able to cover the backlog of deferred maintenance across these HBCUs, he said, the basics could be covered with $5 billion. That's 5 weeks in Afghanistan. 5 weeks. This is real. What we're talking about is real. So throughout my campaign, I've made it a major focus for us to really look at the cost of war and the decisions that are being made by our commander-in-chief that are directly connected to our inability to address and meet the needs of the people in our communities right here at home. Foreign policy is domestic policy. So I am bringing the experience that I have gained throughout my 7 years in Congress, serving on the Foreign Affairs Committee, on the Armed Services Committee, the Homeland Security Committee, very focused on our national security, peace, and our foreign policy, combined with the experience that I just have personally as a soldier, serving almost 17 years in the Army National Guard, going and serving in the Middle East on 2 deployments, seeing firsthand the terribly high human cost of war, and seeing the terrible waste and abuse of our taxpayer dollars as people here are left home suffering. Who benefits from that? Defense contractors, highly paid consultants, people who are walking home making the bank. They are taking a lot of money home while people in our communities continue to suffer. This has to end. As President and Commander-in-Chief, I bring the experience that has prepared me to do that job on day one, to end these regime change wars and nation building, work to end this new Cold War that we are in, this nuclear arms race that's taken more money out of our pockets and making us and the world less safe, and redirect those dollars towards actually serving the people here at home, actually meeting and addressing these needs, whether it's education or healthcare, affordable housing, income inequality. The list goes on and on. We've got to get our priorities straight in this country. I'm asking to serve as your President, Commander-in-Chief, and make this happen, understanding you know I work for you and only you. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share with you. Thank you very much. Aloha. So nice to see you.
Good to see you. Wonderful. Wonderful.
Thank you. We'll catch up soon. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for taking time.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Nice to meet you. Thank you. Thank you. Cool. Go Army, beat Navy.
We were very fortunate to have your parents with us in Richland County
Yes.
last Saturday for the Christmas party.
I saw the pictures.
Very lovely people. Thank you
Thank
for sharing
you.
them with us.
Thank you.
We appreciate
Aloha, everybody. Thank you.
it. Thank you, Congresswoman.
Thank you.
So I'm now going to call up Jay Bromley, our Executive Director, to talk about the next session or the next panel.
Go, Tulsi. Go get him.
Those of you who are interested in politics, presidential politics, you'll want to stay with
Great
us.
speech.
We have a very unique opportunity, and then we've got the majority of state directors here. Jay?
We're going to be around later today, so we're going to hang out a bit. How are you? Nice to meet you.
Just a couple minutes for this group to leave the stage, and when the state directors.
How are you?
Thank you
for coming. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, best wishes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Proud of you.
Oh, that means so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your service. That's great.
Thank you very much. How are
Doing?
you?
It's a pleasure meeting
Nice to meet you. Thanks for being here today and letting me come and join you.
you. Forgot.
No, I remember. I remember. We're going to see you later today at the Veterans Caucus, right?
Absolutely.
I had a good time with your vice chair the other night. His name is escaping right now. It starts with a D.
Yeah.
Your vice chair.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good. I'm looking forward to our conversation later.
Great. Okay.
Nice to
Fine.
see you
Good
again.
To see you.